Jaylen and Marcus were two young black teens, best friends since childhood. Both of them were obsessed with luxury cars. Every weekend, they'd visit new showrooms, memorize car specs online, and dream about owning a Lamborghini one day. One afternoon, they decided to visit one of the most high-end car dealerships in the city, the kind that had Lamborghinis, McLarens, and Rolls-Royces lined up like toys. Jaylen said, "Bro, if I even see a Lambo today, my life is complete." Marcus laughed. "Just let me hold the steering wheel once. That's all I need." They walked in with excitement on their faces, but the moment they stepped through the glass doors, everything changed. The room went quiet. Salesman glanced at them, then looked away. No greetings, no welcome, just cold stares. One of the salesmen finally walked over with a forced smile and said, "Can I help you with something?" Jaylen, still excited, replied, "Yeah, we were hoping to check out the Aventador. Is that the one with the V12?" The salesman raised an eyebrow and said, "This isn't really a place to just hang out. These cars start at $200,000. Marcus frowned. "We know. We're just looking, man." The smile disappeared from the salesman's face. "Look, if you're not here to buy, I'm going to have to ask you to leave." Before they could respond, a security guard walked over, already prepared to escort them out. Jaylen whispered, "We didn't even touch anything." No one cared. They were pushed out like troublemakers, like criminals. Outside, the boys sat on the curb, quiet. Jaylen looked at the ground. "I thought maybe people were better than this." Marcus shook his head. "No, man. To them, we're just two black kids who don't belong." But what the dealership didn't know was who Jaylen's father was. His name was David Kingston, a self-made billionaire, a tech genius, and a man who had fought through racism and rejection his whole life. When Jaylen got home, he didn't even want to tell his dad. But David noticed something was off. "What happened, son?" Jaylen tried to downplay it. "It's nothing, Dad. Just some dealership being rude." David narrowed his eyes. "Tell me everything." Jaylen hesitated, then told him the whole story. David didn't yell. He didn't lose his temper. He just sat still for a moment, then nodded. "I see," he said quietly. "Then I guess I need to pay them a visit." The next morning, at exactly 10 a.m., a Rolls-Royce Phantom pulled up in front of the same dealership. Inside it was David Kingston. He stepped out wearing a navy blue suit and dark sunglasses, calm, controlled, powerful. Salesman rushed to greet him. "Good morning, sir. Welcome. We have some amazing models for you today." David looked around, then spoke. "I'm not here for your cars. I'm here about your behavior." The smiles faded. From behind him, Jaylen and Marcus stepped out of the Rolls-Royce. The salesman's face turned pale. I can explain." David cut him off. "You don't explain racism. You correct it." He walked over to the dealership manager and handed him a check. "I'd like to buy the Aventador in full today." The manager was stunned. "Of course, sir. Do you want it delivered?" David interrupted again. "It's not for me. It's for them." He pointed to Jaylen and Marcus. Silence. Employees stood frozen, some with shame in their eyes. David turned toward the staff and said calmly, "Next time you look at someone and think they don't belong, ask yourself what it costs you to simply show respect." That moment changed everything. Within 24 hours, the story went viral. #RespectIsPriceless started trending on Twitter. Thousands of people shared the video of the boys stepping into their brand new Lamborghini. Interviews followed. News stations covered it. Even celebrities reposted it. Jaylen said, "My dad didn't just buy us a car, he taught them a lesson." Marcus added, "It wasn't about revenge. It was about being seen." David Kingston didn't care about attention. He only cared that his son, and every kid like him, learned that their worth isn't defined by other people's ignorance. The dealership. They issued a public apology. Every staff member was required to take anti-bias and racial sensitivity training. But the real change happened with Jaylen and Marcus. Inspired by what happened, they started a foundation to help underprivileged youth explore careers in automotive engineering and design. They called it Drive Forward. Jaylen and Marcus traveled across the country, speaking at schools, community centers, and even big corporate events. They shared their story, not just about the incident at the dealership, but about how they turned that moment of pain into something greater. Their message was clear. You don't have to be defined by other people's ignorance. Your dreams are valid, no matter where you come from, no matter who you are. Never let anyone make you feel small. The foundation, Drive Forward, received donations from around the world. They set up mentorship programs with top automotive engineers, design schools, and even Formula One teams. Young kids, especially from marginalized communities, got the chance to see what was possible when they believed in themselves. Years later, Jaylen and Marcus were sitting in their own multi-million-dollar office, a big sign that said Drive Forward behind them. Jaylen leaned back in his chair and smiled. Man, remember when all we wanted was to sit in a Lamborghini? Now look at us. Marcus laughed. It's crazy. We went from being pushed out of a dealership to owning a company. That's changing lives. It just shows you, bro, nothing is impossible. They shared a look, realizing they had come full circle. From being overlooked and dismissed to being the ones making a difference. And it was only just the beginning. David Kingston, now a mentor and advisor to the foundation, joined them at the office. He looked around proudly. I'm proud of you both. You didn't just take what happened and turn it into power. You gave that power to others. Marcus nodded. It wasn't just about us. It was about what we could do for the next generation. The world needs to see that everyone has a seat at the table. Jaylen added, and that respect doesn't come with a price tag. David looked at them both and said, remember, son, and you too, Marcus, the world may not always see you for who you truly are, but that doesn't mean you stop showing up as your full self. Keep pushing, keep breaking those barriers. Because in the end, it's not just about what you accomplish, it's about who you inspire along the way. Years had passed since Jaylen and Marcus had first walked into that dealership, their dreams of luxury cars clashing with the reality of racism. What had started as an incident of discrimination had evolved into something much larger than either of them could have imagined. They had grown, both as individuals and as leaders of the Drive Forward movement, a foundation dedicated to uplifting underprivileged youth and giving them the tools and opportunities to break into the automotive industry. But with growth came new challenges. The foundation had expanded rapidly, gaining support from high-profile donors, including major car manufacturers, influential figures in the tech world, and even celebrities who shared Jaylen and Marcus's vision of empowering young people. Still, Jaylen and Marcus weren't content to sit back and bask in the glory of their success. They were determined to ensure their message continued to reach as many people as possible, especially those who needed to hear it most. One day, as they sat in a boardroom discussing the next big step for Drive Forward, Jaylen brought up an idea that had been weighing on his mind. I think it's time we take things to the next level, he said, his voice steady but full of excitement. What if we create a partnership with schools and tech companies to build a curriculum, a way for students to learn about engineering, design, and the business side of the automotive industry from the ground up. Marcus leaned forward, intrigued. You mean, like a full-on program where students can get internships, mentorships, and even scholarships to study these fields? Exactly, Jaylen replied. We have the resources now. We have the connections. And we have the opportunity to create something that could change the entire landscape for young people in underserved communities. I'm talking about giving them the tools to not just dream about cars, but to design them, build them, and own their place in the industry. Marcus smiled, nodding. Bro, I love it. Let's do it. And just like that, Drive Forward entered its next phase. They partnered with schools across the country, providing hands-on programs that offered everything from car design and engineering workshops to real-world business experience and networking opportunities. Students could get internships at top companies in the automotive industry, and the best candidates would even receive scholarships to top-tier universities. The initiative quickly gained momentum. Local businesses began to step up, offering resources and funding for workshops. Car companies such as Tesla, Ford, and even Ferrari began to send engineers and designers to speak to the students. The students not only learned about the technical side of automotive engineering, but also about the perseverance and innovation that it took to succeed in the industry. Jaylen and Marcus watched as the foundation began to make a tangible impact. But their work wasn't done. They wanted to show the world that anyone, regardless of their background, could achieve greatness. One year, the foundation organized a national competition for high school students, offering them the chance to design their own cars. The grand prize, a full scholarship to the world's top engineering school and an internship with a major automotive company. It was the kind of opportunity that could change a young person's life forever. As the competition neared its climax, a small group of students from a community center in South Chicago caught Jaylen's attention. Their designs weren't the most polished, but there was something special about their passion. Their car concept was unique, blending electric efficiency with sustainable materials, and it had the potential to redefine how the world viewed both cars and environmental responsibility. Jaylen and Marcus personally visited the community center, eager to meet these students. They arrived to find a group of teenagers huddled around a table, surrounded by sketches, prototypes, and blueprints. When the students saw them, their eyes widened with disbelief. You're Jaylen and Marcus Kingston," one of the teens asked, her voice trembling. Jaylen smiled warmly. "Yeah, that's us. We came to check out your designs. You guys have something really special here." Marcus nodded. "Your creativity is off the charts. You guys could really go places with this." The students were stunned, but Jaylen and Marcus made sure to emphasize that they weren't just there to offer praise. They were there to support them, to provide mentorship and the tools they needed to turn their dreams into reality. "We're offering you a chance to join our internship program," Jaylen said, "and we'll work with you on taking this project to the next level." This is just the beginning. The students could hardly believe what they were hearing. The next few months were filled with workshops, mentorship sessions, and endless hours spent refining their designs. By the end of the year, the students had developed a working prototype of their sustainable car, and not only had they won the competition, but their design had caught the eye of several investors who saw potential in their innovative approach to eco-friendly transportation. It wasn't long before the students were receiving scholarships and job offers from major car companies. Their work had truly made a mark on the industry, and they had Jaylen and Marcus to thank for. As the years passed, Drive Forward grew into a nationwide network of young, diverse engineers, designers, and innovators. Jaylen and Marcus had gone from being two young boys with a dream of sitting in a Lamborghini to becoming influential figures in the automotive industry. They had inspired a generation to break free from the confines of society's expectations and forge their own paths. One day, as Jaylen sat in his office overlooking the city, he received a message that made his heart swell with pride. It was from a former Drive Forward student, now a rising star in the automotive world. The student had just been named the lead designer at one of the top car companies, and they credited Jaylen and Marcus with giving them the tools, support, and belief they needed to get there. Jaylen showed the message to Marcus, who had just walked into the office. "This is why we did it," Jaylen said quietly, his voice full of emotion. "We changed lives." Marcus smiled, his eyes glistening. "We sure did. And it's only going to get bigger from here." They both sat in silence for a moment, realizing that their work wasn't just about building cars, it was about building futures. And in doing so, they had sparked a revolution. As David Kingston watched his son and Marcus continue to inspire and empower young people, he couldn't help but feel a deep sense of pride. They had taken a moment of adversity and turned it into something that would last for generations to come. "I'm proud of you both," David said one day, sitting in their office. "You didn't just create a foundation, you created a movement. You showed the world that respect, opportunity, and innovation are priceless, and that the future belongs to everyone." Jaylen and Marcus looked at each other, smiles on their faces. "It's not just about the cars," Marcus said, his voice filled with conviction. "It's about the people who drive them." Jaylen nodded. "Exactly. The real power is in who you inspire along the way." And with that, they knew their journey wasn't over. It was only just beginning. If their story inspired you, hit that like button. And don't forget to subscribe for more motivational stories that will fuel your ambition and drive.